The Raiders are absolutely set up for success, and I am going to tell you why. I got a few different reasons for you, but I am so excited to watch what kind of unveils itself with the Raiders offseason this year. And if you are a Raiders fan, you need to be as well. So here's the question that I have for you. What do you want to see the Raiders do with their almost $100 million? Yeah, you heard that right. Almost $100 million in total cap space. You can see it right here. $95 million, that is second in the NFL, only behind the Patriots. What do you want to see them do? We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the GM who's going to make it all work and the experienced head coach that is going to put it into action. So this is a good thing. But before we do that, want to say thank you so much for watching this channel. My name's Craig. Me and my buddy Chris, we started this channel after another one. It was called Sports Talk Detroit. We are Lions fans. We don't hide that. We're Lions fans. And but we love the NFL, and we love teams that are kind of ignored by the national media. Look, the Raiders haven't been talked about a lot lately. And we want to do that because we think the organization is directed and headed in the right spot. And that's what I want to talk to you about right now. First, I'm going to talk to you about the cap situation. Then I want to talk to you about Spytek. And I want to talk to you about why he is the perfect guy to come in and make this work. And we're going to talk a little bit more, of course, about Pete Carroll. But let's first look at your salary cap situation. You have $95 million. Now, that can go quickly in the NFL. That can go really quickly if you just go and spend all of your money. But you're paying some of your best players already. Christian Wilkins, right, as $33 million, you're paying him. Like, that is it. Max Crosby had a very friendly deal when it comes to like the back end of it. A lot of times it's not as friendly, but he's due $28 million if you want to keep him. By the way, I would suggest keeping him very strongly. He's due $28 million. If you were to, for some reason, trade him, he would cost you $10 million in dead cap. Next year, it's only $24 million. It would cost you $5 million in dead cap. And this is where you get to learn, like, if you want to talk about cap and implications and stuff like that, I'm your guy. I'm a nerd when it comes to the salary cap. I love that kind of stuff. But he's not the only one that they have on these contracts. Colton Miller is in the final year of his contract at $15 million with a dead cap of only $3 million. For all that we can say about the different regimes that have come in here, different GMs, they actually handled the cap pretty well. They handled the cap pretty well. They truly did. The one contract that I don't love is the Gardner Minshew contract, $13 million. But he has a dead cap of $7 million. So here's the deal. You have $95 million. Well, what's that going to do? Well, okay, so let's look at some free agents here. All right, here is PFF's big board of top available free agents. And what I love about PFF is that they're going to also give you how much they believe the player will command on the open market. You can go, you want T. Higgins, go get him. It's going to cost you $30 million a year, but go get him. For the oft-injured wide receiver, like, you can go for it. You feel like you want a right guard? Great, go get Trey Smith out of Kansas City. It's going to cost you $20 million a year. You have the money to do it. I wouldn't suggest going and getting Javon Holland or Godwin, but you want to shore up on the opposite side to get Crosby and Mack. Yeah, you know Khalil Mack. You know him. All right? Like, these are the kind of things that you can do. DJ Reed, Amari Cooper, Ronnie Stanley. All right? Now let's get a little weird, right? We talked about that. What about the quarterback position? All right? Sam Darnold. Justin Fields. Reunite Pete Carroll with his old buddy, Russell Wilson. Who do you feel good about in this? Jameis Winston, right? Crazy Jameis. Like, do you want to rely on your sixth pick to get a quarterback? We can talk about that. We'll talk about that in the video too, how much draft capital you have. But you are sitting in an offseason where you had a team, yes, was not good. It was not good, and we understand that. But you're sitting with a team that has almost $100 million. You're also sitting as a team that has a first, a second, 2/3, all early. All early. You have 4 top 75 picks. That's phenomenal. And you have a GM that is coming in with a good history of it. And then you have a ton of late round picks with a GM in Spytek that is coming from a regime that is known for drafting really good players later in the draft. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I mean, I can't think of a more exciting offseason as an NFL fan. Like, this is exciting, and I know what you're saying. What about the quarterback? What about the quarterback? And I was thinking about that. All right, so let's first just look at Spytek, your GM. Where'd he come from? He's been the last 9 years he's spent with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization. They went through who in the world is our quarterback to, oh, we have Tom Brady for 3 or 4 years to what do we do now? All right, let's go get Baker Mayfield. Maybe he can be kind of a stopgap quarterback. And now it turns out he's probably a top 10 quarterback in the NFL because you put him in the right system and with the right people, and he was successful. You can do the same thing here. You can do the exact same thing here. And I look at other teams that it's just like, all right, well, they didn't have a quarterback and they had success. All right, you had the Denver Broncos that get Bo Nix. Right team, right place. You think about the Colts. They went 8-9, 9-8 the last couple of years with nothing at quarterback. Nothing. I think about the Pittsburgh Steelers went 10-7 last year with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Both those guys are available to you if you want them. Look, you don't need to have these remarkable quarterbacks. If you go over to the NFC, Minnesota Vikings went 14-3 with Sam Darnold. Who would have thought that? I already talked about Tampa, right? I already talked about it. Seattle has gone 10-7 or 9-8 each of the last 3 years, right? 2 of them with Pete Carroll, with Geno Smith. The 49ers have had great offensive success with Brock Purdy. Look, you can be a good team without having just this ridiculous talent at the quarterback position. You just need to do it right. So the question is, do you have a guy that can build the right roster or not? I think you do. Again, Spytek joins the Silver and Black after spending 9 seasons with the Bucs. All right? He worked closely. His last 2 years were general manager or assistant general manager in that. But he also oversaw the day-to-day operations in both the pro and college scouting departments. This is interesting. This is a guy who really cut his teeth through the draft, which is how you build a team. So I wouldn't look to be uber aggressive in free agency, but rather use that just litany of draft picks and see what can happen. All right? He landed a full-time scouting assistant position with the Eagles in 2006. All right, he stayed with the Eagles scouting department in 2009 and then spent 3 seasons with the Browns as the director of college scouting and 3 seasons with the Denver Broncos as Southwest area scout and national scout. So from 2006 to 2015, before he even got to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it was college scouting, college scouting, college scouting. All right, he is part of the regime that drafted Bucky Irving in the 4th round, that got Yaya Diaby in the 3rd round, that got Cade Otton in the 4th round and Zion McCallum in the 5th. These are all guys that have gone on to be very successful NFL players with late-round draft picks. And I want to talk to you again. Look at all these draft picks. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 draft picks. That's how you fill out a roster. That's how you build depth. And I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those, and even early in the 6th round, but these first picks, these first 6 picks have a pretty decent hit rate. And you're talking about a guy who's been really good in that area. So what does that look like? Do you use some of these to move up in the draft and get your quarterback of the future? Do you trade Max Crosby? I don't know. How do you feel about that? Like, there's so much conversation about that nationally, but I just have to feel like in Silver and Black Nation, you got to hate that. Like, dog, we want to keep Max, right? Like, he's not on a bad contract, but at the same time, I get it. Like, his value's never been bigger. it's a small dead cap hit for you, and you would get a ton in return because he is still a player that is at the peak of his powers, and he has a year and a half left on his contract. Like, maybe you want to keep him because you know that. So, anyways, I just wanted to get on here, talk about a little bit on a video of how exciting I would be as a Raiders fan for what this offseason is. I don't know if there's a team I'm more excited to watch and talk about. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.